Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at that most recent price action, what's been going on and where I think things are heading next. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. The link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into the video though. So here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're on the BitGet spot exchange and the 1 hour time frame. And yeah, we can still see that we're on target. I'm just going to tidy some of this up. Let's get rid of some of that. There we go. You can see that we're still on target for our low down here. The target range for Bitcoin is 28,093 to 28,342. Now you can see that we've got rejected on the 50 EMA. You can also see that we are below, we've got rejected on the 200 EMA and we're also below the 50 EMA right here as well. Okay, and you can see that we haven't really had any kind of major moves back to the upside. Our stochastic RSI momentum indicator is shifting back to the overbought range, indicating that there isn't really an appetite to be buying at these recent prices. So recently our wick low was at $28,818.25. Essentially there was a little bit of an appetite there as this was a previous area that we had visited, as you can kind of see right here, this previous range. And so there's a little bit of an appetite there, but for the most part it hasn't really been a big enough move to the upside to kind of give us a clean break upwards, and instead we are more than likely going to be dropping back to the downside. Now over the next couple of days I expect things to be quite slow and boring. I'm not expecting things to be rapidly moving in either direction. Essentially, the market in itself looks like it is going to be a slow Saturday, probably with an increase in volatility on the Sunday. This is usually pretty typical because we do like to find that the bulls and the bears fight out for a weekly closed position on BTC. But for the most part, not terribly too much going on this 1 hour time frame. You can note here that it looks like we have completed a 3-wave pattern. Okay, that's basically probably the A wave structure kind of complete here. As you can kind of see, we come down. We actually tapped the 1.618. So let me just go ahead and make sure I get this accurately done, because if we do cross that 1.618, it's going to put us into impulsive structure. So our wick high here comes in on the 29,326 at 38. So I'm just going to move this Fibonacci retracement tool to 2638 right there. There we go. So if we come down here, we can see that the 1.618 is 28,818.54. We went down to a little bit lower than that. So we basically have triggered an impulsive movement. So it's a 5-wave structure. As internally, there's also 5 waves there. We can see that. So that is also of interest to us. Over this side here, do we have anything going on that's of interest? I would say it's in a contracting diagonal. So wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Not contracting, but expanding probably is going to be the one that looks led. So diagonal nonetheless. So let me draw that in. We have a wave 1, 2, 3. Here we've crossed up here into a 4, and we've come down into 5. Now, the reason that this has invalidated is that wave 4 has crossed the wave 1 low point, okay, and that is not allowed. So you can only cross a wave 4 and a wave 1 under a diagonal pattern. You cannot do that on an impulsive pattern, and this 5-wave pattern right here is basically voids the idea that we are in the impulsive structure because of that overlap there, right? So we can't be in a diagonal because diagonals do not contain that. So it's actually more of a 3-3-5 situation, more likely than anything else, even though it hit that 1.618 area. So we'll go ahead and pull this in so we actually take a look at it, meaning that the initial kind of thoughts and expectations are correct, that there is a 3-wave pattern complete. We're looking for a move to the upside under a 3-wave pattern, and it does look pretty interesting here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to a 15 minutes. We've moved up and we've moved down. So it does look like we have kind of completed. Let's go ahead and just do our sense checks. Yeah, we still have potential to push up higher, but as you can kind of see on this 15-minute time frame, you're also getting rejected on that 50 EMA there. It's not looking overly strong. Let's bring this back up into our hourly. I would say that we have the potential to push up a little bit further here, but I'm not liking the momentum indicator. Hopefully, we can still get this rallying up a little bit further, maybe a short-term correction and then another move up. So, as I said, the weekend's going to be pretty slow and boring. Maybe I suspect something like this will occur before we actually then move back down and finishing off our actual structure towards our target range, okay, being down here. Okay, so I think essentially, if I zoom out of this, you can kind of see it would be 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, to that effect. Or it couldn't even end with 5. It could be 3, 3, and 5. Doesn't really generally matter. Essentially, we're en route for our target range, 28,093 to 28,342. So everything there's looking okay. Okay, so we'll keep a close eye on that. That's just the 1 hour time frame. That's basically the kind of the price action that's going to happen or going to kind of take about 2 days, maybe a little bit more to kind of complete. When we go up into the larger time frames, such as the daily time frame, things take a lot longer. Right now, we are in an interesting spot here. You can see that we broke out of our descending triangular wedge, and for the most part, we can see and we can acknowledge that we've just tested this trend line as a support line, but we're still slipping down. Right, we're still going down into lower highs and lower lows. And therefore, we should expect, at some point, a break to the upside. We're not there yet, though. Our momentum indicator down here has also correcting, or is correcting down to oversold again. So we have got a little bit of time down here. I reckon that we're probably going to be looking at finding some kind of price action right in this apex down here. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. From a weekly standpoint, as you can see here, we have Bitcoin on the USD pair, Bitstamp with the 1 week time frame. And we can see that, there's an interesting kind of curve to the Bitcoin price action. Essentially here, we've got tested all the upper areas. We just basically connected these with a curved line, and all the bottom ones we connected with a curved line. Right now, our bear market low, which I do suspect has the strong possibility of being the bear market bottom, just hasn't really connected with anything of note. So, it's an interesting one. We found brief support in this range, but are we going to lose it, and are we going to come down and retest these existing lows or the lows of our curve to trend line? I think there's going to be some interesting developments over the coming months. I don't think necessarily we've got a huge amount of momentum to shift to the downside here, but I am always cautious over the big bearish situation that can be something like this. Okay, so always be a little bit nervous when it comes to the fact that we do not have a trend-based structure to the upside, and we are in higher highs, higher lows, which will have a tendency to want to break on down. But for the most part, we've got a good, strong start. We've been in pretty decent levels this year, so hopefully it can hold, and just a correction down to 20k is all that's going to be required before we have another big run to the upside. That would be fantastic. However, the analysis on this chart gives me a different thought, and which is basically maybe $11,000 to $12,000 testing of the trend line. Now, is there anything else worth noting other than the fact that we are on the smaller time frames below the 200 EMA? That's bearish, and on the larger time frames we're above the 200 but below the 50. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, I think, for Bitcoin. We'll see if it can hold some of these key areas, and if it can, then I think we're going to be good for a bit of a run to the upside. So I'm going to leave the video right there, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, well, why not go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.